Iain from Mâché here. Welcome to another marathon. And today's marathon is a huge one. It's a viewer's request as well. And it's Australia's King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. A band that I'd never heard of. But boy, am I a big fan now. In fact, I'm a huge fan now. I think these are a great band. And what I like about these, you just don't know what you're going to get with them when they bring out an album. They were formed in Australia, in Melbourne, in 2010. And quite a few people in the band, but the current band is Stuart McKenzie on vocals and guitars, keyboards, flutes and basses, etc. Ambrose Kenny Smith, who does harmonicas and keyboards, Joey Walker's guitars, Cook Craig on guitars, Lucas Howard on bass, Michael Kavanagh on drums. Former members, we've got Eric Moore, who did drums from 2010 to 2020. So I'm not going to go through all of them because there's so many, and because there are so many, there's 24. I've split it. It's all doing on the same day. We're just going to do the first 12 and then I'm going to do the second 12, but both videos will be up today, if you get what I'm going on about. I just didn't want to do 24 in one sitting because A, it takes a long time to render, and B, I think 2 parts of 12 are easier for you guys as well. So let's get cracking on this huge catalogue. So this one will go from number 24, I think, up to number 13. So coming in at number 24, I got the second album called Eyes Like the Sky. Now this was released on the 22nd of February 2013. Now the other thing about this band, they didn't just release one album a year, so that's why they've had so many since 2010. Now the guest on here is Broderick Smith, who's a story writing and narration. Now this album, the songs on here, I'm just going to quickly go through these because it's got Eyes Like the Sky, Year of Our Lord, The Raid, Drum Run, Evil Man, Fort Whipple, which I think is quite fun name, The Godman's Goat Lust, The Killing Ground, Dust in the Wind, and Guns and Horses. Now I'm not a very fond lover of this because I'm not a great lover of these albums where you've got band playing in the background and narration. It's hard to concentrate on it. I've never been a fan of these sort of albums. Doesn't matter who does them. So I'm just going to give this a 2 out of 10 because I have listened to it under the headphones. I mean, it's a great story and the music's good, but I just can't gel them together. Okay, then coming in at number 23, this is the 10th album, and it was released on the 23rd of June 2013, and it's called Murders of the Universe. And here we got Leah Senior doing the spoken word. It's split into suites. I think it's a suite, 3 suites. Now suite 1 is called The Tale of the Altered Beast. So the tracks on here is The New World, Altered Beast 1, Alter Me 1, Altered Beast 2, Alter Me 2. Guess what? Altered Beast 3, Alter Me 3, Altered Beast 4. Then we get Life and Death. That's Suite 1. Suite 2 is The Lord of Lightning versus Balrog. Hope I pronounced that right. Some context, Recitant Raconteur, The Lord of Lightning, The Balrog, The Floating Fire, and Acrylic Corpse, or Chrysid's Corpse, sorry. Then we get Sweet Theme. Now I've got to get this right. So, Hand to Me and the Murder of the Universe. Welcome to an Altered Future. Digital Black, Haytome and the Confused Cyborg, Soy Protein Munt Machine, Vomit Comet and Murder of the Universe. Again, it's one of these spoken albums. I mean, the story's great. I like listening to this. I have listened to it again under the headphones, so I can really get into it. It's not too bad as a story, but again, it's the music. So I'm just going to give this one a 3 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 22, we have the 9th album. And this was released in 2017 on the February the 24th. And it's called Flying Microtronal Banana, or subtitles Explorations into Microtonal Tuning Volume 1. Yes. Interesting title. So here we go. Rattlesnake. Now this is a more of a sort of psychedelic sort of jazz fusion sort of thing. So the first track's called Rattlesnake. Now this is quite quirky. I like the guitars in this, and the drums are good. It's an interesting track, and I like it. Then we get Melting. Now this is some sort of jazz fusion something. It's got some really interesting drumming on this. It's pretty good, you know. It's solid enough. Open Water. It's a little bit too long, and it's sort of very disjointed. This is. It's not got a really good flow to it, so it's not one of my favourite tracks on the album. But the next one, Sleep Drifter, I love this. It's a great lyric. It's got, the bass line is great. It's got some really nice guitar tones on this. Really good. Then we get Billabong Valley. Very psychedelic this is. I love this. You can just put it on and float away with the clouds. Then we get Anoxia. Second favourite track on here. It's got some lovely keyboard textures. Very late 60s, early 70s about it. Very mystique as well. Excellent little track that is. Then we get Doom City. Solid rock track on there. It's a bit spacey, rocky in places as well. Nuclear Fusion. It's alright. Then we get the Flying Microtronal Banana. Some very bongos. Interesting arrangement. It's quite clever and it's really good. This is a mixed album for me. It's got some good stuff on here. It's got a couple of bits I'm not too keen on, but I do like how they create their music, and I can appreciate the musicianship of this band. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, then coming in at number 21, this is the 19th album, and it was released on the 5th of March 2022. And it's called Made in Timeland. First track on here is called Timeland. This is quite dancey in places, but they introduce the didgeridoo, which really makes it interesting, and I think it's clever how they've done it. It's 15 minutes long, and it's basically, this album is just 2 15-minute pieces of music, but this is absolutely fantastic how they incorporated it, and it's got melody that's absolutely brilliant. Then we get Smokes and Mirrors, which is the last track on this, because it's the thing. This is a sort of a space rock meets dance. Very clever how they put this together. Some really nice tones on this again, and it is a really strong track. Very interesting album this is. Again, it's nothing like, they just come up with these ideas, and when you listen to it, it's really good how clever that they can incorporate the dance beat but make it melodic and something that even I will listen to. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.1. So coming in at number 20, we have the 17th album. Now this is from February the 25th 2021. It's called LW, or subtitle Explorations into the Microtronal Tuning Volume 3. First track on this one is called If Not Now Then When. very rich, disjointed track this is, but I like it. It just, you got these little bits all disjointed. They're very disjointed. They all sound different, but they all work really good. Then we get a track called One, or as it's on the thing, I'll put it there. It's ONE. Very catchy track. A lot of these tracks are really catchy. I like the start of this. You got some sort of ice cream van. You know, when the ice cream van comes around, you get that bit of music at the beginning, and then it goes into this psychedelic thing, which is pretty cool. I really enjoy that. Then we get a thing called Pura. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's okay, quite pleasant. Got some nice little bits in it. I quite like that. Supreme Ascendancy comes now. Not so keen on this one. You got these two keyboards working against each other. I'll tell you what it reminds, how to put it. You know when you put two magnets together and you put them the wrong way round and they start bashing again, you know, and all that. It sounds like that. It's just really off-putting. Doesn't do anything for me. And then we get a thing called Static Electricity. A really good track this is. It's got an interesting vocal on it and it works well. Then we get East-West Link. Sounds too much like the previous track, Static Electricity. Sort of flows into it. And then we get my favourite track, and I've got to get the pronouncing about this. Ataraxia, or something like that. My favourite track, I love the guitars on this. This is proper sort of psychedelic 1960s sort of underground psychedelic rock. Absolutely brilliant. The guitar work is really good. See Me, a little bit irritating. I can't listen to this all the way through. It's one of the tracks that I'm not very keen on by the band, full stop. Then we get a thing called KGLW, very heavy, very doom metal. Love the guitar riffs. It's very Black Sabbathy from the 70s. Really, really strong track. It's a long track, but it's really good. What I like about this, there's so many variants of music: psychedelic, dance, metal. But this is just shows what a great band they are, and I'm really into them now. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.2. Okay, then coming in at number 19, we got the 18th album. This one came out on the 11th of June 2021, and it's called Butterfly 3000. First track on this one is just called Yours. Very psychedelic, this album. A lovely keyboard run all through this track with a really strong bass line that sort of guides the song. Really good. Then we get Shanghai, and with a title like that, yes, it's got that Far Eastern feel to it with some very psychedelic sounds, very quirky tune. Dreams. This has now got that sort of 1980 new wave Talking Heads sort of thing. Again, it's really, really good. Next up is Blue Morpho. Again, it's just the same sort of way the Dreams is, with a different vocal basically, but it still works and it's still a good, strong track. Then we get Interior People. My favourite track on it, I think it's sort of that mid-80s pop song that's quirky. Catchy tune. Very, very good track. Catching Smoke comes next. Again, this is more an mid-80s pop sound. It reminds me sort of a cross between Prefab Sprout and Deacon Blue. A very good track though. And then we get 202 Killer Year. It's alright. It's a bit mediocre. Black Hot Soup. Very strange. This sort of Jean-Michel Jarre meets the B-52s. But it works. I just like how they've done it. And then we get Ya Love. Very little quirky track, but the lyrics are just a little bit repetitive. Butterfly 3000 is the last track. Clever. It's the same sort of tune as Ya Love, but they've put a different lyric on it and a different style. They've changed it a little bit, but it is a really strong track. On my journey of listening to this band, this is one of them albums that I like. It's got all sorts of music on it, and very good music. It's just such an enjoyable album, this is. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.4. So, coming in at number 18, this is the 16th album, released on the 20th of November 2020, and this one's called KG, or subtitled Explorations into Microtronal Tuning Volume 2. Joining the band on here, we've got some additional personnel. We've got a backing vocal singer on one track called Bella Walker on track 3. So the first track is called KGLW. Sounds weird, psychedelic, but you just can't have. It's a very short little piece because it goes straight into automation. Very quirky thing. Reminds me so much of Chrome. Space rocky, psychedelic rocky thing. Really good track. Then we get Minimum Brain Size. Very quirky song. Some great guitar riffs on this. Really like this song. It is so strong. Straws in the Wind. It's a little bit thing. It's got machines and sounds and not very good. Some of Us. Interesting track again. Again, it's got some amalgamations of bits from all the other tracks thrown in there. They're also okay. Then Ontology. Quite like this. I like how this has been put together. It's got a very interesting, quirky vocal again. There's one thing about this band, their vocal performances are really good. One minute you've got some really quirky, heavy stuff, then there's psychedelic effect vocals. That's all really good. Intrasport comes next. The guitar effects on here, they've got some amazing sounds on this. I like this sort of weird stuff. Odd Life, very well put together. I listened to this under the headphones. You have to listen to this under the headphones to get the full enhancement of this. Very cleverly put together. It's weird, but still very, very, very good. Honey, post-punk sound now. Really well put together track. Driving guitars, excellent stuff. Then we get my favourite track on here, the last track, The Hungry Wolf of Fate. I like this. It's very Black Sabbathy guitar riffs, the sort of thing you get from Tony Iommi, and I love it. It's absolutely a dynamite track. As there's so many albums in their catalogue, I think this is a fantastic album. I love playing. I've played this quite a lot. It's because they've got so many albums. It's so low down. But if this, if they were doing 1 or 2 albums a year, or an album a year, like most bands, this would definitely be in the top 10 of that sort of thing. But I love this album, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.5. Okay, then coming in at number 17, we go to the 23rd album now. This was released in October 2022, and it was the 3rd album they released during 2022. So, and they released 5 that year, so that's pretty good. And the album's called Changes. First track on here is Change. I love this track. This is a very sort of jazzy psychedelic fusion. Some nice drums on this. The guitar tones are fantastic. Love that. Hate Dancing, solid track here. I love the piano on this. It's really prominent part of this track. AstroTurf, this one's okay, a little bit repetitive in places. It's 7 minutes long. I think if they'd have cut it down and got rid of some of the repetitiveness, it would have been even better. Nobody, which is 2 words, great track. Second best track on here. It's got some great guitar work on that. Gandhi, quirky keyboards all the way through this, some lovely textures, and it's a very quirky, catchy tune as well. I like that. Exploding Suns, as in the sun, not two children. A little bit of wonderful jazz fusion here. The drumming timing is fantastic. It's gentle, it's breezy, and then the sound effects come in and just give it extra depth. Short change, very progressive. This is very progressive rock jazz. Love the guitar tones on this. Great track to end the album. This is a very enjoyable album again. Very versatile, different sounds, different genres, and I really enjoy this album. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.6. Okay then, coming in at number 16, we have the 17th album. Oh, the 7th album, sorry. I can't read what I'm put down. It was released in 2015 on the 13th of November, and it's called Paper Mâché. First track on this is called Sense. Now this reminds me of the sort of music from bands like Elbow and Athlete. It's got that vibe to it. I love this track, it's very relaxing. Then we get Bow. Now this could have been recorded in the late 60s. It's quite flower power and hippie, sitting in circles with flowers in your hair type thing. Hey, it's really, really good. Great track. Then we get a track that's simply called Dirt. Lots of flute on this. It is so chilled. Wonderful flute. Wonderful track. Then we get the title track, Paper Mâché. A quirky little track. I love the sound of the children on this. Really gives it some brightness. Really good. Trapdoor comes this. It's a little bit irritating. One of them weird tracks that I didn't get on with. Then we get Cold Cadaver. It's a very acoustic track. Very nice. Then the Bitter Boogie. Now this is my favourite track on it. It's a bit of a bluesy thing with some lovely harmonica. Stunning guitars. Really good track. Then we get a track called NGRI, and in brackets Bloodstain, very sort of 60s pastiche with some harmonica. Then we get Time Equals Fate. It's very Jethro Tull in places with some lovely flute and a little bit of Beatles thrown in there, so it's a bit of a Jethro Tull meets the Beatles. Then we get Time Equals Dollars. Another real good track. It's still got that 60s vibe carried on with Time Equals Fate. Very good track as well. Most of what I like, love the drumming, and especially at the start of the track. And then it goes, it's quite not aggressive, but it's quite, and it goes into this gentle stuff. It's really good. Then we get Paper Mâché CR. I love everything about this. I love the flute, the recorder, the bongos. Really good. This is a really acoustic album, and it's certainly got that 60s vibe. Most enjoyable album. And I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6.7. Okay, then coming in at number 15, we have the 6th album, and it is called Quarters. And it's 4 tracks. All 10 minutes and 10 seconds. So, first track on here is called The River. I like this. I love that guitar at the beginning. It's very progressive rock. The drumming is fantastic on that track. Good stuff. Infinite Rise is the next track. Again, it's sort of an alternative rock track. Very Athlete. Really good. Some nice tones on the guitars. The vocal is pretty good as well. I like that track a lot. Then we get God Is in the Rhythm. We go back to some psychedelic stuff on here. Reminds me very much of Led Zeppelin's In the Evening as well in places. Some of that guitar work is very pastiche. Very, very good track. But my favourite track is the last one. It's called Lonely Steel Sheet Flyer. This is very early Pink Floyd. I'm talking Source Full of Secrets sort of sound. The guitar work on this is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favourite tracks by this band, full stop. Absolutely wonderful track. So you got these 4 tracks, we're totally different. We've got a progressive rock, we've got alternative rock, we've got jazz rock, we've got psychedelic rock. This band can just turn on a sixpence and do a different genre. It's a fantastic album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.8. Okay, coming in at number 14 is the 20th album. It's the first double album, and it was released on the 22nd of April 2022, and it's called Omnium Gatherum. Some additional people joined them on here. We've got Millicent Smith on vocals, Amy Finley on drums on one track, and Madeline Wright does the party sounds. And there you go. So the first track on here is called The Dripping Tap. It's 18 minutes long. It's okay. I think it's a little bit too long. The most irritating thing is the dripping tap all the way through it. It's a little bit repetitive in places. They should have just chopped it down and got all the good bits together. I just find it very difficult to listen to, because I love my long tracks, as you know, but this is a little bit too much for me. Okay, then we get Magenta Mountain. Now this is really good. It's an alternative sort of rock, new wave sort of thing. It's got this really good bass line that sort of drives the song along. Then we got Kepler 22B. This is jazz fusion. It's just pianos and drums, and it is fantastic. It's got that jazzy drum beat to it. Excellent. My favourite track on here is a thing called Gaia, spelled Gaia. It's heavy metal. Heavy metal riffs. You've gone from a jazz track into heavy metal. It's brilliant, and this is what amazes me about this band. You just don't know what you're going to get. Then we get a track called Ambergris. After the energy of Gaia, you've got this really chilled out, acoustic-y sounding guitar. Really nice. Excellent track. Sadie Sorceress. Quirky keyboards in this. I love the vocals on this. A very clever track. I like the vocals in the middle of this. Very, very good. Evilest Man comes to this. Now this is a bit of psychedelic and new wave thrown together with some great guitar riffs, some nice effects in there, and it just sounds really good. Then we get the Garden Goblin. Bit of a filler track for me. It doesn't do anything for me. It's a little bit flat. Blame It on the Weather. Again, not too keen on this. The intro's good, but the rest of it isn't. Persistence. Very Talking Heads. Nothing wrong with that. Good track. The Grim Reaper. Oh, this is really out there. Then we got Presumptuous. I love the quirky keyboards. It's very 70s vibe. Predator X. Heavy metal here. Some great riffs. Driving riffs. Pretty cool track. Then we get Red Smoke, which is a chill out alternative rock, psychedelia. Candles next. Nothing special, it's just alright. Then we get The Funeral. I quite like this. It's got some Spanish guitar on it. The vocals are good. It's quite an enjoyable track. This is one of those double albums that it could have been better as just a single album thing. There's lots of filler on this, but the tracks I do like are fantastic. Again, great album. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.9. Okay, this is the last one of part 1, and it's number 13, and it's the 11th album, and this was released on the 18th of August 2017, and it's called Sketches of Brunswick East, and they just done this with the Mile High Club, which is a duo of electronics featuring Alex Bretin, who plays pianos and synthesizers, and Andrew Burt, who does guitars. So the first track here is called Sketches of Brunswick East 1. It's just a very short intro. It's got lovely flute, some nice bass, very short. Countdown is next. And on here we have got some jazz guitar. It's a chill out track, really mellow. D-Day, very short, lot of bass and drums, chill out sort of thing. Tazetta, some really good jazz guitar on this, and the drums sound great. I do like jazz guitars, they sound so good. Then we got a track called Cranes, Planes and Migraines, a very short track with a very funky bass line. The Spider and Me, yeah, you get Spider and Me repeated all the time, and it sort of gets on your goat a little bit. It's a good job it's only 3 minutes and 16 seconds long. Then we get Sketches of Brunswick East 2. Love the sound of that electric piano on this. Very 70s sort of lift music or 70s cop show sort of groove. Then we get Dusk to Dawn on Logan Street. My favourite track on this album. I love the jazzy guitars, a catchy tune. The electric piano again is wonderful. Such a laid back track. So laid back you're near enough lying on the floor. The book comes now. Just chill again. It's, you know, you listen to this and you just want to chill out with a nice glass of something. Excellent. It's lovely textures and sounds on this. A Journey to, and it's Shell with S in brackets. Weird track. This is psychedelic jazz here. 2 minutes of just weirdness, but good. Rolling Stones. Again, it's that sort of vacuous lift music you got in the big department stores, or you know, when you're on the telephone. We're just going to put you on hold and they play some little funky music. That's what that reminds me of. It's pretty good. You Can Be Your Silhouette comes next. Very disjointed, and it feels like you got 3 people playing 3 different tunes and they're not on the same sheet. Then we get Sketches of Brunswick East 3. Starts so weird. You got this. Remember the reel-to-reel tapes, and when you used to reverse it, was, you know, that funny noise it used to make, and then you get this jazz sort of fusion odyssey thing going on. It's really cool. I think this is a proper chill-out album. It's got some weird and wonderful stuff on it, but it is so relaxing. You put this on after a long, hard day. I know I've done this. I've had a stressful day. Thought I want something to chill me out, and I put this on. It really did make me feel chilled out. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. So there we go. There's part 1. Part 2 will be literally after this. I'm going to have a short break, have a cup of coffee, and I'm going to record the second part. But for you just flick onto the bit at the top. At the end, you just flick onto it, and you can continue on your journey with the King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. I'll see you in a bit. Bye.